Well, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day ceremony in Lagos was greeted with a protest by a group of ex-servicemen who are protesting the non-payment of their pension arrears. They asked the government not to neglect the living heroes while celebrating the fallen ones.
There's no pressure mounted by the ex-servicemen. I believe the finance minister wouldn't have acted because the intention of the ex-servicemen was to disrupt the commemoration of the remembrance, Armed Forces remembrance. But thank God, based on the meeting, she saw at last, and it's going to be a disgrace because the war we see ex-servicemen languishing in abject poverty. But thank God, she quickly intervened, and today, based on the information I had this morning, that she has agreed to pay the pensioners. So I think it's a good news to us.
While there is no protest in the military, anybody protesting is doing a wrong thing. As regards the promise of increase of payment, it is a policy decision, and I'm not in any position here to tell you anything about it. So no comment on that. The welfare of personnel in the military is adequately taken care of. But as Oliver Twist, the military personnel are not different from the other members of the larger society who will always ask for more.
Now, the federal government has announced its intention to investigate 5 Chadians who were allegedly involved in the recent attack by terrorists on Biu town in Borno State. 42 insurgents, including 15 Chadians, were said to have been killed during a gun battle between the militants and the military. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the coordinator of the National Information Center, Mr. Mike Omeri, also reaffirmed the government's resolve to rescue the Chibok girls. Speaking at the conference, the Director, Search and Rescue of the National Emergency Management Agency, Air Commodore Charles Odegbade, disclosed that the agency is currently providing humanitarian service for over 980,000 internally displaced persons in Nigeria.
The appropriate department of the country's intelligence service will investigate to determine their level of involvement and possibly obtain information that could help the ongoing campaign. In similar vein, we wish to note that despite the fact that it is 9 months since the abduction of our girls from a secondary school in Chibok town, the government of Nigeria has not relented and will not relent in deploying all efforts, all capacities to ensure the rescue of these girls.
What we do is we provide comprehensive humanitarian relief to IDPs across the country. And we work closely with local governments and international partners, UNICEF, Oxfam, IOM, ICRS, even the state emergency management agencies and the Red Cross. With these our partners, currently we manage 20 protected IDP camps across northern Nigeria. These camps are spread across Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, Gombe, Bauchi, Taraba, and Nasarawa states.
Well, staying with security matters, the Presidential Committee on the Review of the National Defense Policy is seeking the cooperation and input of Nigerians in the process of reviewing the nation's national defense policy. According to the committee, the review has become imperative, especially in the face of current changes in the country and the rest of the world, which have a direct impact on the nation's defense system. The current national defense policy was formulated in 2006, prior to the emergence of the current security challenges.
The defense policy was promulgated in 2006, and since then, the nation has undergone a lot of transformation in terms of development as well as security challenges. There are also new developments and challenges in the global environment that have direct impact on our security and national defense. These challenges highlight the need for the review of the national defense policy in order to address the new developments and emerging threats.
Taking a look at the current situation in which Nigeria has found itself vis-à-vis world economy and the world political agenda, and asking ourselves how can we better shape the defense policy of Nigeria, one, to serve the current situation, and of course to serve the long-term best interests of you and I as Nigerians. We are now inviting other stakeholders, Nigerians in diaspora, local, everyone, to please rise up and ask, what is my national interest? How is that interest being defended? How can it be better secured? How can it be better protected?
And following attacks on communities that left hundreds displaced in Nasarawa State, wives of the Northern Governors Forum have come to their aid with donations of relief materials. Receiving the group at the Government House in Lafia, the state capital, Governor Tanko Almakura says the items donated will make a huge difference in the lives of the people. He, however, pointed out that a lot still needs to be done to ensure the people affected are reintegrated to the society.
An entourage of wives of Northern Governors Forum arriving at the Nasarawa State Government House for a meeting with Governor Almakura.
Governor Umaru Tanko Almakura of Nasarawa State.
Inside the council chambers, the leader of the group spells out the reason for the visit.
We are here to contribute our own widow's mite, because we know you still have some camps where you have internally displaced people. Just a few minutes ago, we were with His Royal Highness, and he showed us 3 traditional rulers whose whole community have been raised down.
Let me say it now.
For the governor, this gesture could not have come at a better time, considering the needs of those displaced.
Their houses have been destroyed, some put on fire, and we felt we should procure substantial amount of building materials for them to go to their domains and start putting their houses in order. We were just thinking about procuring some relief materials that will serve them in the IDPs where they find themselves, and as God will have it, you have come handy with these relief materials, which I assure you will be delivered to them in the next few days, so that it can give them some big relief before they get back to their various domains.
Next, the meeting moves outdoors, where the presentation of relief materials is made. But there is another message the First Lady wants to pass to the country.
We are here to promote harmony, extend a hand of fellowship to internally displaced people. We also appeal to all Nigerians to please unite. All hands must be on deck. Collapse all walls of division, which is increasing by the day, so we can work together for the singular progress of all Nigerians.
Actions like this are greatly appreciated by those they're meant for. But what they would prefer, if asked, is that the whole thing that put them there in the first place comes to an end.
The former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Muhammad Uwais, has blamed the National Assembly for failing to establish the Electoral Offences Commission as recommended in the Electoral Reform Committee report. Justice Uwais said he is saddened by a claim from the Independent National Electoral Commission that it's only been able to prosecute 200 electoral offenders out of 1,000 cases charged in the last elections. Our correspondent Gloria Umezuke reports.
As campaigns by political parties reached its peak 4 weeks ahead of the general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, still battles to fill in some gaps before the polls. At this gathering, former Chief Justice of Nigeria and other stakeholders in the polity bore their minds on the current situation in the electoral system.
INEC is given the responsibility to prosecute, and they have only been able to do so in respect of 211. Now, if you go back to our report, what we recommended is that there should be a body, an agency called Electoral Offences Commission. A lot of the politicians who are in both the National Assembly, House, Senate, and the House of Representatives, who are to enact such a law or create such a body, are themselves co-offenders, maybe even the brain behind the offenses. So they may feel if they did so, they will be shooting themselves in the foot.
An INEC National Commissioner, Professor Lai Olurode, told the gathering that the ballot boxes which have started to arrive would have been distributed by February 14.
That is why we resorted to going to the camps. If you go to the IDP camps, what we are going to do in our voter education there, we are going to, by Tuesday, it will be in the public domain, what is our methodology for doing the election in the north, but definitely we are going to do elections there.
Many other questions on issues of security, internally displaced persons and sale of the permanent voters card in some areas were brought up by spokesman of the All Progressives Congress. He said the party rejects the temporary voters card as an option.
Until the government can completely remove itself from the process of election, and by government here we mean all government agencies, for so long on INEC and the government is struggling to say the elections are free and fair.
Other participants, however, stay hopeful. Although there are bound to be challenges in the country with a huge population like Nigeria during the general elections, how INEC and perhaps politicians respond to them before the polls remains critical. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television.
The Minister of Power has announced plans to roll out 1 million electricity prepaid meters for households across Nigeria. Professor Chinedu Nibo said a proper metering system would help the government make returns on its investment and help to ensure better services for consumers. He revealed that a total of $350 billion is required to make the power sector more viable between 2015 and 2030.
Rural electrification.
Government officials and experts from the power sector are at a gathering to make the power sector contribute significantly to the growth of the economy. Although the provision of stable power to millions of Nigerians, both in the urban and rural areas, has not been without challenges, especially the provision of prepaid meters, the Minister of Power is promising a total change in all of these areas.
It's so painful that people are not paying. So government says because the discos are burdened with all kinds of other things they need to do, this same president is going to launch very shortly and has provided the funding to give over 1 million meters.
The meeting was interactive as Nigerians asked questions on how government hopes to improve from the current generation of 4,500 megawatts of electricity.
Every consumer must be metered.
Again, the minister promised that more power stations will be built, as well as ensure that the activities of vandals is curbed through legislations that would stipulate stiffer penalties for culprits.
These people are so determined that they want to show Nigeria that we cannot deliver enough power. It has come to a place where if we know there is a milestone to be achieved, because there is a lot of gas now available, we can't even announce it. Because once we announce it, they preempt us. Hopefully, with what Mr. President is doing now, we are going to be able to have much better security for the oil and gas pipelines.
While Nigerians expect government to match its words with action, the government says it also expects a complementary role to be played by all Nigerians in making the vision a success.
When the news at 10 returns, Finance Minister Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala gives assurances again that the federal government is doing well with the economy. That's on Business. To join us again.